Hello everybody, it's Tim here again for another video. This time not really a movie review, more like just like a topic discussion. It was pretty much recently announced today, like on Twitter and everything, that Velma is gay in the new Scooby-Doo movie, and I decided to watch it. Now, truthfully, I don't care about cartoon character sexuality or actor sexuality or movie character sexuality or whatever, especially not a cartoon character sexuality. But I thought I would bring this up because it goes into the whole is diversity or political correctness and all that too much, or is it a good thing and all that? So I thought, why not do a video about it, even if you don't really care about it? It's still kind of a fun thing to talk about. In terms of politics and things like that, I personally don't care what political side someone sides with. It doesn't really matter what side you're on, whether you want to be a Republican or Democrat. What really matters is your character and how you act and who you are. That determines who you are. Your actions does. Not what side you politically support. Like, there are a lot of Republicans who didn't like Donald Trump, and then there were some that did. That's fine. And there were Trump supporters that did support Donald Trump, but didn't support all the things he did. Personally, I thought Donald Trump sucked. I think Biden is just kind of average. But when it comes to politics, I'm not political on either side. Both sides have flawed systems and flawed ideologies. The best way to be is something right in the middle, to be honest. Is to take the good stuff of both sides and kind of combine it together and just be your own person in the middle. Because once you try to start putting yourself into a group, you just become like a mindless hive mind thinker. You just fall in line. There's nothing really else to it. And that's not for me. But yeah, when it comes to like the whole political correctness thing and stuff like that, like, it is true, Hollywood and all that, in terms of cartoons and other stuff in movies, never did want to be like too diverse. They always wanted to play to like just the standard like white audience in America and all that, straight white audience. And most people in America are straight and white. And at the same time, though, it is good to be more diverse because in a way it does. I mean, truthfully, it does spice it up. And it is, and people, despite what people say about skin color and stuff like that and sexuality not mattering, in the end, it actually does matter. Because when you have a character who's specifically closer to you as a person, you do identify with them more. There's characters in movies that I identify with more, and I enjoy seeing them more than other characters. I mean, that is true. That is the way it is. I mean, that's just how it is for you as a person. You're going to identify and like characters more that are closer to your own personality or closer to the things that you personally like and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, so diversity and stuff is important, and at the very least, it just spices it up and makes it not the same old shit over and over. But also at the same time, if you're just doing something for diversity's sake and you're not giving the character anything to go with or anything like that, and you're not doing anything with the script to spice it up or anything, or to change it up or to just make it a good script in general, then it does seem pointless. And that's all. But that's the mistake people make who only focus on like supposed wokeness in movies and stuff. Like, they see a bad movie and they see the fact that the diversity's in there, and they use that to say, well, that's why the movie was bad, because they only. Because of the fact that the diversity and stuff is there. That's not why the movie's bad. I mean, the movie is bad because it's just simply bad. I mean, it's true they may have just focused so much on the diversity that they just didn't care about anything else and all that. That is the case in some products and some movies and stuff like that. But diversity in general in itself is not a bad thing. But yeah, with this whole thing about Velma being gay and all that, Velma as a character and the Scooby-Doo characters in their show and everything, Scooby-Doo Are You, they were not created to have like sexualities or anything like that. They were not really created to have like teen drama or anything like that, or anything going on like that. They were just created to be a group of friends solving mysteries and with a silly talking dog and a comedy concept. That's it. There was nothing else to it than that. Later on, they start trying to add that kind of stuff to make the characters more three-dimensional, but in doing that, they kind of lost the soul in the later shows of what was the spirit of the original Scooby-Doo Are You, and the first like 4 or 5 like Scooby-Doo like shows that came after that, like the new Scooby-Doo movies, even a pup named Scooby-Doo, Scooby-Doo and the 13 Ghosts. Like, all of them were just basic Scooby-Doo shows, and they were fun. Like, you don't really need all this teen drama stuff and all that to add to it about the character's sexuality or whatever. Like, not once when I was watching Scooby-Doo as a kid, and I grew up on Scooby-Doo. I am a fan of the original Scooby-Doo and most of the, like, spin-off shows, until, like, the newer stuff now, which is pretty bad. Like, I never once thought, hey, what, is Fred gay? Like, I don't care. Like, I mean, that was never really the basis for that show. Like, sometimes adding, like, more dimension to characters and stuff like that and going into, like, deeper into them and their lives and stuff, that can work. But with something like Scooby-Doo, it's just a simple one-off concept. Unless you're truly going to change it up to where it's something, like, really amazing to see with these three-dimensional characters, then there's really no reason to do it. There's really no reason to like add in who Velma's wanting to sleep with or anything like that. Like it doesn't matter. And that goes for like the straight relationships too. Like I never cared about who Daphne was wanting to sleep with or whatever. Like it started out as a joke that Fred and Daphne were on an item or secretly they had a crush on each other because they were always pairing off, but that was really never what it was meant to be. They were just pairing off because those two were meant to be the lead male and the lead female. That was really it. There wasn't meant to be any character to it. But yeah, or any reason for it. But they started like people started saying it as like a joke, and the whole thing about Velma being secretly gay like started as a joke because of how she dressed. People just assumed she was gay, which in a way is kind of bigotry or or kind of hateful that people just assume she was gay. The character was secretly gay because of how she dressed. That's kind of kind of offensive. But at the same time, though, she was just created to be a nerd. There wasn't meant to be any sexual thing about her or anything like that. And then later on the shows and all the other spin-off shows and all that, she was shown to have love interests with only men. She was shown as a straight character. And part of that, yes, is because they didn't want to make the character gay or whatever. They didn't want to go that way with any of the characters. But at the same time, though, the character was never intended to like be a sexual being. So when they added in sexuality later or whatever, um, it wasn't really needed at the same time, though. She was always depicted as straight. So were all the other characters, but I never cared about any of their sexual relationships, to be honest. Like the show Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated, that's all that show was like built around for most of it was Velma's like love interest with Shaggy and all that, and trying to get him to just like pay constant attention to her, but he was too busy like choosing his dog over her, which was like that show overall. By the end, I've binged that show before on Netflix. It is a good Scooby-Doo adaptation. Or I would even say a great Scooby-Doo adaptation for what it is. But the first few like seasons with the whole like love story stuff and all that with the teen drama, it's pretty hard to get through. But once you get to past that and you get to like the main plot line of the show and all that, overall I would say it is a well, yeah, I take that back. I wouldn't say great. I would say good. It is a good, fun, like darker Scooby Doo show, slightly intended for a little bit older audiences, but not so old to where little kids couldn't watch it. But the teen drama stuff and all that was the weakest part of that show. It really just held it down, and it had no reason to be there. But yeah, this whole thing with turning Velma like gay now or whatever for this specific movie, like I'll say this, there's no continuity with Scooby Doo. Each Scooby Doo show exists in like its own reality, unless it's a movie or something that's a direct sequel to it. It's its own thing. James Gunn was gonna make Velma gay in his Scooby Doo movie that he was writing, but his script was meant to be a parody. He was gonna make fun of the show, and he was gonna have like Scooby and Shaggy be like straight up stoners and all that. It was this that he was gonna do something more along the line of like the Brady Bunch movie. It was the studio that decided that it should be rewritten into just more of a typical family movie, which I've never really liked that Scooby Doo movie anyway. Honestly, if it was a parody like James Gunn intended, it probably would have been better. But yeah, as a Scooby Doo movie, though, it was pretty poor. I know some people have nostalgia for it because they grew up on it, but as a movie, though, it's pretty poor. But yeah, making Velma gay now or whatever for this new continuity of this new random direct to video movie, like the newer Scooby Doo movies and all that, and even the newer shows, really aren't that good. Like some of them are kind of fun, but like the newer movies and stuff, they're not really even Scooby Doo like adaptations. They're just like making fun of the show. They're just like wink, wink, nudge, nudge jokes that are just like make fun of the show and the series and all that. And that's all it is. Like they're not even real like mysteries and all that. Like the mystery doesn't even matter, and they're just like making inside jokes about the characters in the show. And that's been my problem with it because that's what Scooby Doo has been in these like later direct to video movies for the last like who knows how many movies, and even like most of the newer shows. It's just been making fun of the characters and the concept. It's like it's never been like a real adaptation anymore of the series, and I'm just not as into that. I mean, it was funny somewhat on Be Cool Scooby Doo when they were making the characters like mentally retarded because they were so crazy and just stupid acting. It was kind of funny there, but they've been doing it in literally every Scooby product lately, and it's just been overkill. Where it's not even really a Scooby Doo movie anymore. It's just like making fun of the characters and concept, which the concept is silly, but at the same time, though, you want a little bit of groundedness to it. That way, you can at least engage with it somewhat. Otherwise, it just becomes a big farce, and at that point, it doesn't feel like Scooby Doo anymore. It just feels like a parody of Scooby Doo. And I'm just not interested in like a parody of Scooby Doo that's trying to pass itself off as an official Scooby Doo show. Like, if you're gonna make a parody, just call it a parody. Don't try to pass it off as an actual Scooby Doo movie. But yeah, making her gay or whatever, it is it most like Hollywood is not. People say Hollywood is liberal minded. They're not really liberal minded or Republican minded or whatever. They don't care about anything. They just care about money. The reason they're making Velma gay in this new movie is specifically just so they can attract attention to it, so they can get people to watch it and to check it out to increase DVD sales and all that. That really is why. There's no other. They don't care. They're just trying to increase revenue or whatever. and to increase people talking about this product. I get it. It's a business. Like, if you ask most gay people or whatever, like, the majority of gay people say, I don't give a shit if Velma's gay. I don't give a fuck about Scooby-Doo. Like, most people don't really care about these later direct-to-DVD Scooby-Doo movies in general, unless they're, like, hardcore Scooby fans. Like, most gay people, I don't even think give a shit about this Scooby-Doo movie. Like, if you ask them. Like, yeah, they really don't. Like, people have it in their, like, I feel like Hollywood also has it in their mind, like, if we just, I mean, they do, I wouldn't say I think, but they do, where they feel like, hey, if we just make this controversial by making this character gay, like, people will show up to support this movie and show up and see it, and that's not, 99% of the time, that's not the case. Most people don't show up, and this movie's getting, like, bad reviews that they did this in, Trick or Treat Scooby-Doo, and I watched it recently. It's not very good. It, like I said, it just plays like a parody. The whole Velma being gay thing in the movie or whatever, it's there. It's like it's touched upon, but it's never really done anything with. She has a crush on this girl, but it never becomes a romance, and it's completely forgotten about over halfway through the movie and never comes up again. So it's there for no other reason than just to be there, just to say, "Hey, Velma's gay here." It's like, okay, that added nothing to the movie. It's like, so it really is just there to attract attention. But at the same time, no, I have no problem if Velma is gay. But if you're going to make the character gay in your continuity or try to hint at a romance, then just make it a romance. Go all the way with it if you're going to do that in this specific Scooby-Doo continuity. Otherwise, don't bring up her relationship at all, or her being gay at all. And the same thing with her being straight. If you're not going to make a relationship out of it, don't bring it up at all. What's the point? But yeah, I have no problem with the character being gay in some random Scooby-Doo continuity. But like I said, though, Hollywood doesn't care about who's gay or straight or anything. They just want to cause controversy to get people to pay attention to their products and invest in it. That's all it is. That's all they care about. They just want to make some money. And it's a business, like I said. I get it. But yeah, there's no reason to be pissed off about this. There's nothing to be mad about. There's nothing wrong with having Velma be gay in a random continuity. Even though it is completely pointless in this movie and has no reason to be there. And this movie will ultimately be forgotten about, just like the other 6 or 7, 8 of these 30s direct-to-DVD Scooby-Doo movies, except by the hardcore fans. And that's pretty much it. But yeah, what studios need to focus on is writing good stories. And if a character being gay or whatever, or straight, makes sense in context of the movie they're writing and the plot, then that's cool. If it needs to be there, it needs to be there. But if it doesn't, then there's no reason to have it. Regardless. There's no, like, every gay person or straight person does not go around, like, announcing their sexuality constantly. You don't have to always bring in, like, sexuality in every product to let people know that this character is gay or this character is straight. You don't always need that. Unless it's needed, I don't really care about seeing it. Unless it's, otherwise it's just pointless filler and it has no place in the movie. And then no one will give a shit. So yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on this. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you again.